All right, welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
And this time,
Excited for this one.
we are really getting into it, going way back,
Yeah.
and we're going to be looking at excerpts from Caiar.
Oh, yeah.
And
I love this text.
it's a fascinating ancient Chinese myth
It is.
about the separation of heaven and earth.
Yeah.
Just imagine for a second a world where
I mean,
gods and humans
that's hard.
freely interacted like
Wow.
neighbors borrowing a cup of sugar or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds kind of amazing.
Oh, it sounds idyllic, right?
Right, but what if that easy access led to,
Chaos.
total chaos? And that's
Yeah.
what this myth is all about.
Well, and that's the question the myth tackles, right? It's like, what happens when that utopia
Okay.
isn't actually a utopia?
Yeah, and we've
Wow.
got this incredible text to kind of guide us through it. So
Absolutely.
what does this myth tell us about
Yeah.
that time?
It paints this picture of a time when heaven and earth were literally connected.
Wow.
Like there were ladders and passages.
Not just some spiritual...
Not just a spiritual connection. No, it was very, very tangible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very physical.
So gods could just come down
we could stroll on down.
and say, what's up?
Exactly. Exactly. And humans, presumably, if they could figure out how to get up these things, could potentially go visit the gods.
So we're not just talking about these
Right.
distant deities.
Well, no.
Gods were just,
They were part of everyday life.
wow, so they were just woven into the fabric of society.
Yeah.
But then things
Things get a little...
get a little messy.
Yeah, so this...
This cosmic family, if you will,
Right.
starts having some internal conflicts.
All right, so who are the main players?
Well, so we have Emperor Zhuanxu, who is the grandson of the Yellow Emperor.
Okay.
Okay, so very important figure. He starts to see some cracks in this arrangement, right? It wasn't the gods themselves causing the trouble,
Right.
but rather certain humans who were exploiting the situation.
Exploiting this whole,
Yeah.
easy access up and down.
Yeah, exactly. Think about it. You have sorcerers claiming divine connections for personal gain,
Oh.
manipulating people, maybe even evading earthly justice by,
Slipping through...
slipping through those cosmic loopholes, right?
Yeah, those loopholes sound pretty tempting.
Oh, for sure.
But then that begs the question,
Yeah.
what happens to social order when the lines between divine and the human get so...
Blurred.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the heart of it, right?
right.
The myth is highlighting the potential chaos that erupts when power,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it's tied to, claims of the supernatural,
Right.
goes unchecked.
And especially in ancient Chinese society, we know that.
Maintaining order was paramount.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for practical reasons, obviously, but also because it was intertwined with the concept of the mandate of heaven,
Right.
the emperor's, divine right to rule.
So
So Zhuangzi would have felt this very
deeply.
deep responsibility to restore balance,
Yeah.
not just for the people, but for the cosmic order itself.
So we can't just sit back and
Right.
watch this unfold.
No, he's got to take action.
And it's interesting how the text depicts him summoning Chong and Li, masters of fire and ice, on a stormy night.
Right.
Sets the stage for
It's dramatic.
a dramatic intervention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his declaration, "Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta spirits are rampant, and the people are suffering.
Wow.
It really underscores the urgency and gravity of the situation.
Yeah, like he's seeing all of this firsthand.
Yes.
And he's like, okay, this
is not sustainable.
Something has to change.
Not going to work.
Yeah.
He makes this monumental decision to protect humanity.
Okay.
And establish a more stable earthly society.
So tell us about the separation.
Okay, so we have Cheng destroying the southern sky paths with fire.
Oh.
We have Lig sealing off the northern passages with ice.
So fire and ice working together to...
And it's 3 days and nights of thunder, wind, collapsing sky larders. I mean, you can imagine what it must have felt like for the people living through that.
Just to see the reality.
It would have been terrifying, right? Like their whole worldview is being reshaped in front of their eyes.
Yeah, like all of their understanding
Everything they did
of how the universe works is totally flipped on its head.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the result...
Gods reside in heaven, mortals on earth, and interaction becomes limited to specific rituals and prayers.
So he got what he wanted.
He did. He got what he wanted.
Problem solved.
Well, not necessarily, right. The myth doesn't present this as a simple victory.
You can imagine some people mourning the loss of that direct connection, viewing it as a loss of divine protection.
Right. Like we're on our own now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And that's what makes it so...
A nuance?
Nuance, yeah. It's not black and white.
Right.
It's not, good versus evil.
It's not a...
It's more complicated than that.
Happy ending.
No, it's a more complicated situation than that.
It's more like a...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we've made this decision.
Right.
What are the consequences?
Exactly.
So, yeah, while some saw it as a tragedy, others maybe saw it as a necessary step toward human autonomy.
Right. So you have this idea that, okay, maybe there's less divine intervention.
Okay.
But now humanity has the space to focus on earthly progress.
Okay.
Taking responsibility for its own fate.
Right.
Yeah.
So it makes you think about...
It does, doesn't it?
Our own lives, right.
It makes you think about those times when we're maybe relying a little too much on external forces or influences.
Are we too quick to look up?
Yeah. Are we always looking for that, external validation or answer or solution?
Yeah, and instead, should we be focusing more on
the earthly
solutions and being
a little more self-reliant?
More self-reliant, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, this myth is more than just gods and mortals. It's a reflection on
governance, balance of power,
Yeah.
The difficult choices that leaders have to face
Right.
for the greater good.
Really makes you think.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. So what do you think? Was Zhuanxu's action ultimately beneficial for humanity? And what might our world look like today if those pathways to heaven were still open?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
A lot to ponder.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on this fascinating deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
As always.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.